You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
Right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we got a couple of things, and it looks like both of them are involving Caitlyn Clark. And one of them has to do with potentially her arrival in this Unrivaled basketball league, this 3x3 league. I think a lot of us were thinking it might be best if she actually skips this, and I want to call it a fiasco. It's going to be on TNT Sports, and I said before, I believe the reason that TNT Sports, they allowed them or they brought them in as an ownership group in this is simply put so that that money, that big money, could be used to lure Caitlyn Clark to the Unrivaled League. Before we jump straight to that, and the major clue that a lot of people are using as a potential for Caitlyn Clark to, as a sign, a big sign that she's going there, let's look at what's happened to Iowa basketball. Because, I mean, I think, look, they were going to take a hit once Caitlyn Clark left as far as television ratings. But a lot of what we have heard, right, was that, women's college basketball, well, that was a huge growing lane of sports content. Maybe it is. And that a lot of people are tuning in. Well, look, Iowa is still considered to probably be one of the better teams in women's basketball in college, but people are not tuning in to watch these games now. The days of Caitlyn Clark leading the Iowa Hawkeyes are over. Unsurprisingly, that means the team's ratings will take a bit of a hit. On November 6th, Iowa started its season with an 18-point victory over Northern Illinois. Just 4 days later, Iowa took on Virginia Tech in a highly anticipated matchup. It was reported this week that ESPN2 drew 209,000 viewers for Iowa-Virginia Tech's game. Iowa's most recent game against Toledo, meanwhile, had 136,000 viewers on the Big Ten network. Yikes. For reference, Iowa drew 583,000 viewers for its first game of the 2023-24 season. This is just a reminder of how impactful Caitlyn Clark has been over the past several years. And then it goes into talking about exactly how big the ratings were for the national championship games, et cetera, et cetera. So that tells you right there, just far as eyes that are going to be on the Iowa program, there's been a great reduction in those eyes that's going to be on that program. And that's not quite 3 times as many eyes last year, but it's really close. It's really close. It's basically 3.9 times the amount of eyes that were a bigger draw last year or tuned in versus Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn Clark's Iowa-less team that she is no longer on. Obviously, she's going to still be very close to that program, but not near as many people are going to tune in for it. So, the Unrivaled Basketball League has grabbed a huge sponsor, and a lot of people are signaling this is the big sign that Caitlyn Clark is on her way to the Unrivaled Basketball League. We are excited to announce our partnership with State Farm. Unrivaled has announced a multi-year sponsorship with State Farm, making them our exclusive home and auto insurance sponsor, as well as presenting sponsor for highly anticipated club selection announcements set to release Wednesday, November 20. Interesting. Okay, so the quote here from Kristen Cook, Chief Agency and Sales Marketing Officer at State Farm, quote, "The popularity of women's basketball continues to explode." So you scroll down here, Caitlyn Clark has a major endorsement deal with State Farm. You all may have seen the commercials airing for months during March Madness and the NBA playoffs. CC is so joining Unrivaled. I don't know if that's happening or not, but a lot of people believe it's going to. So you got CC. Major moves. Please announce the rest of the players. Y'all are eating this up. This person is asking Caitlyn Clark to please don't do this. Saying they're liking comments, wishing that you would not participate. Maybe the other players are. Wow. So a lot of people are saying, where is the rest of the players? Where are those announcements? Drop the hints. There's Caitlyn Clark and Jake from State Farm. That's the fake Jake from State Farm. I tend to remember a different Jake from State Farm, but okay. Congrats. Clark is pulling the strings, I see. Can't deny her. She's bringing in sponsors. This is an interesting one, and one that I've seen a lot of you talk about, and I completely understand it. The idea of Geno Auriemma profiting from Caitlyn Clark after his vile insults to her fan base is a sickening thought. And yeah, of course, he's had some things, some very unflattering things, and frankly, I'm cleaning that way up to say about Caitlyn Clark. He's been a Caitlyn Clark hater. Let's be honest. I still believe that's because so many of his players, former players, one in particular named Diana Taurasi, was quickly overshadowed by Caitlyn Clark's arrival into the WNBA. It became very clear that these players that had been around forever, that thought they were going to be the ones that were going to be the megastar that launched the WNBA into some kind of validity, they weren't able to do it. They didn't move the needle. They didn't even flutter the needle. And then Caitlyn Clark showed up and she broke the needle off. And that created a lot of jealousy, I believe, all across women's basketball, college and pro. I think you can throw Dawn Staley into that mix. And, of course, her players are throughout the league, A'ja Wilson, and we know how she feels about Caitlyn Clark as well. So my theory was, would I like to watch Caitlyn Clark play more basketball? Yes, of course. But number one, it's a 3x3 league. Ugh, I don't know about that, folks. And number two, it's competing directly with the NFL. The playoff time of the NFL. Okay. Well, what days are your games going to be on? That's going to be a big deal, right? And the other thing is, how is this going to affect her in the WNBA? In other words, I talked about the fact that I think Caitlyn Clark would have been even better in her rookie year had she not had to play so long into the college season towards the WNBA draft. I mean, she played, well into the playoffs, late into the playoffs, and then next thing you know, a couple of months later, she's having to play pro basketball. I would like to see her completely and fully rested and not having to play coming into the WNBA, because it wouldn't shock me a bit if a fully rested Caitlyn Clark did something like 25, 9 assists, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds next year. And in case you're wondering, that's probably MVP numbers. I think you get my point. What is she going to look like if she's fully rested? If she plays in this league, she won't be fully rested. So and she's playing with so many players that don't care for her. Yikes, Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.